Hey everybody, welcome to the Ivan Files. I'm speaking for Ivan, which I shouldn't be doing, but hey Ivan.
Hey, hey. I'm trying to speak for myself sometimes, not always successful in doing that. One of the things that I was concerned about is how we emulate others, including ancient aliens, and try to be somewhat like them. And as uh, our Western stories and Eastern stories have a marked difference. And when you put a Western guy as a detective with an Eastern story, it's just kind of out of whack. But he shouldn't necessarily be there. But one of the things is, people say if like I have this hat on today.
It looks good too.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. If they look at you, especially the guys that have lots of animals, and they say, that's a hat, but do you have any cattle?
So
you're supposed to have cattle
if
you have a hat.
You got to have a cow or two.
Yeah, well, guess what? I brought a cow with me. This is a Guernsey cow that has lost her horns. I think some young folks were trying to do wrestling with the head. You know, you've seen that in westerns and in movies and stuff like that. So I can wear this hat because I have cattle. Right there. It's a very unusual cow because it has it's a Guernsey, see, and it's a milk cow.
So what does Guernsey mean?
Guernsey?
Is that?
That's the isle that they came from near England.
Oh, that's how they got their name.
Yeah. And I believe the Holstein was from, it was down near the Netherlands somewhere that they got their name. But the Jersey, the Isle of Jersey and Guernsey, those are isles that are close to England, and so they can wear whatever hat they want to.
Yeah,
when they're out there,
And that's how they got their name.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Interesting.
And so we dragged them over here. This was when I was in 4-H. This was my favorite dairy cow to work with, and she was very nice. And lots of milk, but not as much as a Holstein. And more than a Jersey, but she has good butter fat and all that stuff. So all I'm saying is that I can wear this hat because I have cattle. See that?
Love it.
Got cattle.
So a Holstein cow will produce more milk than a Guernsey.
Yeah.
But not as much as a Jersey.
No, a Jersey of the three, the Jerseys will come up with the least amount of milk. The Guernsey is right in the middle of those two.
Okay.
And the Holstein, Jersey farmers would often say they kept the Holstein around to wash the buckets out.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, because the butterfat was low with the Jersey, but that's old farmers. I was an old farmer. I could grab a 10-gallon milk jar. You know a 10-gallon milk jar?
10-gallon milk jar?
10-gallon milk, yeah. Pick it up and toss it on the truck. Comes by. What they were mostly interested in, though, was the butterfat. And what we were interested in as a family was the Guernseys. They were mild-tempered. The Jersey cow was very mild-tempered. It was like a pet. The Jersey bull was the meanest of all of them. They'll take you on with no provocation at all. You just stand there
and they'll come try to run you over.
Yeah. You're saying this fence is nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why did your family go with this type of cow, the Guernsey?
Because we had a lot of kids.
'Cause you had kids.
Yeah, this is the family that I came from. We would have Guernseys. One of the things, though, is that when you would buy the a full Guernsey or a registered Guernsey or a registerable Guernsey, they had all those outfits had their own special club, so to speak. There was the Guernsey people and the Jersey people and Holstein people. And there was another one too. There's two more. There's an Ayrshire. Maybe, if you go to a fair and you see an Ayrshire, they look a lot like a Guernsey, only the coloring is very deep. And they have horns. Mostly they have horns, but they're bred out. Horns are bred out where they can, and if they're not showing them for a cup, then they'll try to breed them out because they can be dangerous around children.
Oh, so they'll breed the horns out of them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's
Because they could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Run you over.
Yeah. Don't want that.
No,
Yeah.
not on that big.
Kids aren't going to enjoy that. No way.
they already got rid of those horns there, and so you can just go out and pet the cows. That's an additional thing for children to do if you have a cow that's you're going to milk and eat the milk and pet the cow and feed them grain and stuff like that. It's a pretty good life in all the ways.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty
yeah.
good life.
yeah. So, of the different variety of cows, what one is the most popular?
Oh, Holstein.
And that's because why?
They produce the most milk
They produce the most milk.
per cow. Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, will those also be processed for meat or no?
Well, here's the thing that you don't know, and they don't want you to know. If a cow's beyond their time for milking, you sell them for meat.
Gotcha.
So, eating in hamburgers, sometimes they say, well, this is Angus burger, or this is that. That's popular for regular meat cows, but Angus are not friendly cows.
Oh,
They
gotcha.
are. You got to watch them. However, the not Holstein. We're getting a lot of cows in here. Awful lot of cows.
A lot of cow.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. And, one of them. What was I going to say? I don't know. Anyway, what you see mostly in movies, which is out of time, is like great Texas movies. You see a whole lot of whiteface.
Hmm.
They didn't have a whole lot of whiteface to start with.
Hmm.
They have awful lot of longhorns.
Gotcha.
But there is where they bred. There's a movie about that, but it's not a documentary, but it suggests that. They're all this little girl's petting this Hereford comes from England too. All our damn cows come from England.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I'm kind of gathering that.
Yeah, there are some cows that come from France, and there's other cows. But the Ayrshire has the things that stand out. Like these are kind of blended a little bit, but the Ayrshires stand out, and it's a very pretty cow. And there's a milking shorthorn too. How the hell we get on this?
I know.
We're learning.
You're half.
I'm a city boy. I'm a city boy. So I'm learning some stuff right here. So how many cattle, how many head of cattle did you have growing up?
I would milk 10 cows by hand in the morning before I went to school. And that's when I was a junior, in high school, and pretty soon, Dad worked away. He wasn't separated, but he worked. He was a construction guy, so wherever construction people have to go where the work is. And so, Mom didn't like the idea that I was having to do all these chores before I went to school.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all. It's like when you first went to school after the summer. You sat in a desk that were built for what, mummies.
Real comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, real
Those
comfortable.
tiny little desks.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Give you back issues. Yeah, lower
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
So 10 cows before school. How long does it take to milk a cow? Are you talking 10 minutes a pop? 5 minutes a pop?
Between 5 and 10 minutes, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a long morning. That's a morning routine, man.
Yeah.
An hour, right?
10 minutes. Yeah. It's 6 minutes. It'd be an hour, right? 60 minutes. Yeah.
It still is, I believe. 60 minutes, still an hour.
I might need to check that on the computer
Yeah,
first.
Google it.
Yeah.
Is the earth slowing down or speeding up or something like that? Yeah.
That's the idiocracy future that we're like plummeting towards, though, right? People don't have to remember anything. Then why remember anything?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that was. And last week we were talking about what if.
Mm-hmm.
What if, do you remember what it was? What if the aliens were here and we had that encounter? You were talking at lunch.
Yeah.
And what would we do? Or how would we learn from them? And somebody said that the no-face guys
Mm-hmm.
said that we're going to destroy the earth with our technology.
Yeah.
Well, I don't believe they'll let us. I don't believe that.
Yeah. So in that we're talking about the show Encounters on Netflix. It came out about a month ago as this is being recorded, and one of the episodes that comes to mind when you reference that is there were a bunch of strange lights over Fukushima when the Fukushima core collapsed.
Uh-huh.
And what they were saying is somebody was taking a reading of the core, and the core was getting really hot. Like, I don't remember what they were measuring in, but say it was 10,000. Well, then the lights came down, they measured it again, and it had dropped to 3,000. So their speculation was that some of these UFOs actually came down and released some of the pressure of the core or energy or whatever. I'm not a physicist, but
They don't have to be. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was interesting that, yeah, for sure, right? But it was interesting that, you mentioned UFOs, something stepping in to protect us, and that could be one example of that.
Absolutely. What he was just talking about, they
Right.
won't let that happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I go back there with milking 10 cows. I would
Before going to school.
maybe three.
So, but
I would almost fall asleep milking a cow.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. You milk on this side.
Uh-huh.
Well, after a while, you get milking machines, and they just do all of that. But you can put your head right in there while you're milking, and it is very comfortable. Cows are warm. It's in the old style of doing that. The cows were very warm. It was very nice to go out there and be with the cows. That may be strange, but that was true.
You got a kinship, right? I mean, you're next to this huge animal that's real heavy, putting off heat. That's neat.
Yeah.
I bet that was nice in the winters, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They'd come in, except they were kind of messy too. If you feed them alfalfa, there's stuff all over the place. They could hit the backside of the barn.
Oh, is that right? Oh, man. You'd be getting a lot less alfalfa in my farm.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. You had to watch that sort of thing.
No, definitely. In terms of the UFO discussion of last week and whether, there's a higher power among us or not, I think there's only so much we can control. And I think the reason the UFO conversation is so popular in our culture right now is we're finally starting to get somewhere close to actual data. And for a long time, it's been all speculation and all eyewitnesses, but no tangible proof to back it up. And now you're finally seeing the government come out and be like, well, actually, there's some stuff going on.
Yeah.
And
We
that
just
like,
haven't told you
Right.
about quite all of it yet.
so that one data point is just like, oh shoot, all the crazies were right the entire
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Because how many years were they just like, no, there's no aliens, you're insane. Oh, Ted drank too much on the back lot. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be interesting. For me, like the more data, the better.
Yeah.
Like the more data that we can use to actually study this stuff, the better.
Yeah.
And maybe that's like a traditional science opinion, but you
No,
know,
that's just good. That's the way we're built in some ways.
Right.
Is the first two areas, and the third one, that of how do you learn, and what's provable and what isn't. Remember, I talked about the four ways of
knowing.
knowing,
That's right.
and most of it's the first two for us, and we're getting to the third. Like they're really there, and somebody comes in without their face. You're looking for your face. We can help them find their face somewhere, or we'll give them one.
Yeah.
And that could be a problem to them. But
Well, and it goes back to what we were talking about a few episodes ago, where you're talking about the physical and then the metaphysical or the intangible,
yeah,
and how that's interpreted in the Bible. And I think that is like one thing that we will never, maybe not never, but right now we have no way of like actually getting data points on some of that non-physical happening, right?
Yeah.
Feelings, intuitions, lucky guesses, all of that kind of stuff is really a huge unknown for humanity as a whole, and it could be the key to unlocking this higher power.
yeah. It's the key to. It's unknown to most of us.
Mhm.
It may be known to a few of us that are in the military thing, or people that actually had the encounter. And well, how do you do it? I'm from Mars. Oh, that's nice. I'm really glad to. Would you like a cup of coffee? Yeah. We don't drink coffee.
That would actually kill us. Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for the
Caffeine
offering.
kills us.
Yeah, right.
The
You
kryptonite.
want to stop your sleep altogether? Just drink more coffee.
I've always felt like, and I've said this to you guys before, is I don't think that mankind as a whole is ready for this. And I think part of the reason is, in my opinion, is, basically the movies that we watch. Mm-hmm. There's only one movie that I've ever seen, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where the aliens were not aggressive or dangerous. Every other movie, like War of the Worlds, especially, they're coming to kill us.
Yeah.
So I think that there's this,
We want your blood.
we want your blood. There's this fear.
Yeah.
There's just, instead of thinking it as something positive, that we could, unite as different species, it's, no, we're here to dominate you and take over because we need your resources, or we need you, or your blood, like you said.
Well,
So I think people are afraid.
The young man that had not Alzheimer's, he couldn't move his muscles. He had
Paralyzed?
Huh?
Like paralyzed?
Okay.
Okay.
He's from Cambridge.
Stephen
England.
Hawking.
Oh, gotcha.
Everything's in England. Which is all right, but he said you may wish you hadn't been so friendly in inviting all these people to come to your place, because some of them might like to eat humans.
Good point.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
like when
It
you
could be
throw
part of the ruse.
Yeah, like when you throw a house party and you're like, guys, you got to go home. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, you got to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we want lunch. Yeah, we'll step into our disc, and we're off across the universe.
No, that's the comic book I want to write. It's like the
Yeah.
UFO party animals, where they're just going from planet to planet, partying as hard as they can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
That's their idea of going to Vegas.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
We're going to Earth, baby!
We'll see you in 2 years.
You all you have to do is go in and try a one-armed bandit, which you can probably control anyway, and then you win. And then that's a human. Dr. Limo was telling me about a show he watched where it was the whole thing was what do you do if an alien comes? You know, it talks about managing them very well, being real nice to them, and the whole thing blends into a welcome alien to our planet. But the end of it says, and you cook them this way, put them on the table, and that's how you prepare for an alien. See?
Wow.
Well, they better watch out because I'm more of a Jersey cow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a Jersey bull.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, maybe not. Yeah. I'd be like, okay, whatever you say.
What can I see? What else was I going
I might taste better
Well,
being 350 degrees.
Yeah, I've heard 350 is a great temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't bring my paper, but I'll remember, I think. Oh, I was going to start talking about, you mentioned it just a few minutes ago. There's the physical part of stuff that we believe, that when we see, you know, you can touch a cow, you know.
Mhm.
And then this particular author had, he had learned Hebrew, and he also learned Greek. So it was a retelling or a retranslating of the Old Testament, and getting some of that in there, and it was totally different than what we've been
Totally different.
handed the Bible. There's the Bible. No, it's not the Bible. There's this Bible. This is the Bible. You know, books all over the place and questions, but it's they talk about the unseen part. Well, all of that references beautiful, tremendous things that they can do, or that they said that we didn't have a notion about. There are some people that have that notion. Well, probably a whole lot of people that have that notion. But I got to finish the book in order to do some of it. But you know, it's like God had a committee,
Mm.
and one of them might have been a gardener. You know,
Yeah,
Interesting,
Maybe-
right?
God's gardener.
yeah, maybe one of them milked 10 cows in there, or 20 cows. You know, they should milk, and you know, milk all over the place, like a cow that had just had a calf. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that book that you're reading is pretty thick material too, right? And it
Oh.
consistently refers back to another book.
Are you reading?
So for me, no, I'm not, but I kind of looked into it a little bit, and I'm
Okay.
like, wow, a book that's constantly referencing another book
Another
is
book.
just
Yeah.
like, wow, that's going to be hard to parse. You almost have them. Do you read them right next to one another?
No. Well, almost.
Yeah.
Almost. But yeah, you're right. It goes on for maybe a paragraph or two, and it says it's in this, what, Ezekiel, Daniel, various books of the Bible
Wow.
that references back, but he uses the reference of the translation of the Septuagint Greek into what it's supposed to mean now.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and it was different than what we get.
I find that very interesting.
So okay, so here's the
Because
deal.
it's vastly different.
Right, yeah. But like if the aliens are kicking around up there, can you just give us another version? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like could you
Yeah.
go back in time, grab the original version and just let us know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Good point.
seriously,
Yeah.
like help us out.
Yeah.
There would be no more wars because right, aren't Gaza and Israel at each other's throats right now?
Uh-huh.
And isn't that a religious I don't know anything about it. I probably shouldn't talk about it.
Right.
But there's another war going on right
Yeah.
now.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
And
A lot of that stuff in that region of the world appears to be based on religious beliefs.
right.
It is.
Right.
What little I know about it.
That's
Is
I'm
that,
gonna
is
say.
that accurate?
Little any of us know about it.
Yeah.
But there was one thing that was, when you talk about cattle and giving us stuff to eat and so on. That the Old Testament referred to that in the book of Enoch, which I've mentioned a time or two. In there, he says, you know, Enoch, whatever they say Enoch said, God give us plenty of food, cattle, so on. We don't have to go do all that stuff. But what happens is, you know, there was a couple of flotillas apparently of angels, and some of them believed, or they saw the pretty daughters of humans, and so they decided that what the committee wanted wasn't really important. What was important was how they felt, and so they go with that. So how what do you think about that? That's a whole different range of feelings and things to contend with if they're if you're doing what you feel like you see a really pretty gal and you say, well, I'm done with that one, I'll just go over here and do it. Yeah, that's not how it's supposed to be.
Desire of man
That's
makes
it.
Yeah.
them go against
Desires.
what they should be doing.
Yeah.
Because that emotion of desire for a woman, in the man's case, is overwhelming, stronger than its
Oh, yeah.
moral decisions.
That's very strong. But see, we're flipping back a little bit to the idea of free will, and whether or not a robot, say, a mechanical person, should give them free will or not. Because if they have free will, they might do exactly that. Say, look at that, look at that, hey, let's just go see that. And
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very
I like
interesting.
the color of that robot over
Yeah, no joke, right? Yeah, I mean, how odd, right? Because,
Think
I
about
mean,
that. It's-
yeah, you would think like the motives of the flesh would be different than something that's on the creation committee. You know what I mean?
well, they did that on purpose. I think they didn't put the controls there in the right way. But what they used prophets to say that the committee, God, whatever, wants you to do this. You're they call it an imager. An imager is like we're made in the image of God. Well, some of us don't act like that, though. You know, image of just like you were talking about, desire for women and so on, that whole thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the higher power really is just into cows, and they just want to get down there and have some cows. That's why the cows keep disappearing on us.
You feel real bad because you don't have the cows.
Now listen, boss. I know you promised me eternal happiness and everything, but have you seen this Holstein?
I'm looking at
What
this Holstein
about
guy.
the cows? Yeah.
I can't control my feelings.
And it gets awfully cold in the winter. You know, it gets awfully cold in the winter.
Sure, and you can't go to the store very easily, so you have a cow.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
in the barn.
Oh, good
And
stuff.
that's the way it went.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, good work today.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for being here, you
Thanks
guys.
for coming, folks.
Thanks for
and,
hanging out.
We'll be here next week if the flood doesn't come up and the astronauts don't, or not the astronauts, the asteroids don't blow us out of the water. So, you know, thanks for coming.
And if that does happen, we'll still try to be here.
Yeah, we'll try to be
We'll see
here.
what
We'll
happens.
scrape up the rubble. How to hit the power button.
That's right.
Now you know how to get milk from cows.
Now I know.
I learned
The
something
more you
too.
know.
Yeah.
I'll finally be able to support the survivors camp that I get sold into after the apocalypse lands.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, folks.
Good work.
Take care.
Later.